You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, it's a War Rapport Wednesday. Welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. C-Dub, Mike G with the War Rapport. Gentlemen, it has been a crazy week since we last talked. How we doing?
I think we're all right, Zach. Lots of developments. So we'll see how things pan out over the next few weeks. And we got a game. We got one more game.
Yeah, that just feels forever away. But yeah. We'll talk about the Birmingham Bowl towards the end of the show if we have time. But news coming out of Auburn Tuesday afternoon that Bryan Harsin is moving on from the Zak Hill situation. We've talked about it a little bit here on the show, but sounds like he had an offer in hand. Zak Hill, the offensive coordinator at Arizona State, had an offer in hand this past Thursday. Sounds like it was in the ballpark of about $1 million a year with bonuses, possibly get up to 1.3. That was reported by Justin Hokanson of AuburnLive.com. But Auburn's compliance department, rightfully so, wanted to make sure that he wasn't tied up with all of the scandalous stuff that's happening over at Arizona State. They needed Arizona State's compliance to kind of go along with it. They didn't seem too interested in doing that. And so they're moving on. It's taken too long. Bryan Harsin saying, hey, we are moving on. And so we get a reset with the offensive coordinator search for the Tigers. Y'all's thoughts on that?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you, because for most of the past few days, it's been mixed reactions about Zak Hill, period.
Sure.
There have been people who felt like, hey, this is Harsin going after his guy, someone that he knows, someone that he feels comfortable with, has history with, knows what Harsin wants to do. And then there are people who looked up Zak Hill and looked up his stats this year and says, I don't want the guy. And so it's been kind of a mixed bag in terms of response to this. A lot of people are relieved. From what I'm hearing, that Harsin's moving on to someone else. I just want someone who can just score in both halves, like, get out on an opponent and actually score a touchdown in the second half or two or three. Like, I would like that. I don't. Whoever Harsin gets, I just want someone who can put together 4 quarters of offensive output. That's all I want.
Sure. Mike G, your thoughts on this situation?
Listen, whoever he's got, it just has to work. I know that's not the sexy answer, but after what happened last year, he's an offensive head coach. So bringing somebody in that he shares offensive philosophies and visions with was more important than going out and getting some big name.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people wanted the sexy hire. The truth is we have to change the narrative around coaching at Auburn so it does become the sexy job if you want to go get the sexy hire. So,
right.
There have been things coming out today about, them possibly being in contact with Joe Brady and some other people. It just, all that matters is that he's got a vision of offense. He needs somebody who can come in here and help him execute his vision of offense and take the players that we have and find a version of that vision that can be successful with the personnel that we have.
Guys, I want to be real about the Joe Brady thing. I know he was incredible at LSU, and he was kind of seen as the hot up-and-coming offensive-minded coach. It shocked a lot of people when the Carolina Panthers let him go this past Sunday, but I don't think it's a fit. I don't think he has a Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase type situation that he can walk into. And this is a guy that doesn't like to recruit. That's kind of been the thing, is like, okay, he'll scheme you open, but he doesn't want to develop, he doesn't want to go out and get the talent. And while it could be nice from a play calling standpoint, I don't think that's what Auburn needs right now. I think the more important thing is they need to get more talented dudes on this roster. And, I'm sure Joe Brady can play the card of, hey, yeah, I'm really great. You can come play in my offense. But also on the flip side of it, if we get a guy like Joe Brady at Auburn, I just don't think he's in it for the long haul. And so recruiting is going to become even less important to him because, he's going to be looking for a head coaching job somewhere or maybe go back to the NFL. I don't think the Joe Brady thing, it's fun, it's sexy, it's exciting, but I don't think it's the best fit for what we need right now.
Yeah. Listen, this will satisfy a lot of Auburn fans if Auburn was to announce Joe Brady as the hire.
Yeah,
because because we know Joe Brady by 2019 when LSU put up historic numbers. Joe Burrow was amazing, and they sent so many guys to the NFL off of that team alone. But I agree with you. I agree with you because I think one of the areas that hasn't been the most stable on this football team has been the offensive side of the football. And Harsin is coming in to remedy that. And there needs to be some stability on that side of the ball because even though Harsin's an offensive mind, he's still the head coach and has to entrust his offensive coordinator with QB development and actually building an offense around the players. And so we talk about the need to go and recruit offensive linemen, receivers, skilled guys who can run what Harsin wants. The OC has to be a part of that picture. And that is something in the back of your mind you have to worry about with Joe Brady is, does he want to get back? Matter of fact, I mean, he spent more time in the league than he has in college. Only 1 year in college football. So does he want to get back to prove that he can be an OC at the next level? I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. Right. But you just never know. And I think for that position, that's a very important position. And I've said it before, this is Harsin's most important hire, perhaps, of his career. So you want someone who's going to at least be here long enough to at least have some success and build a culture on the offensive side of the ball where when he leaves, other guys want to come in and take up the mantle.
Yeah. Mike G, what do you think about the time frame of all of this? It's been a little over a week now. And obviously, if the reports are true, which I believe Hokinson's report to be true, is okay, he fires Bobo on Monday. He offers Zak Hill just 3 days later on that Thursday. So you got to think, okay, he had this in mind when he pulled the trigger. You just have to assume that.
No, go ahead.
You don't think you have to assume that?
No. I do think that's a safe assumption, actually.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So do you think he had like a top group of, okay, if Zach says no, I'm going to go with this guy? Do you think that's the person who got the call today?
Yes and no. Right. I think it was clear at this point that Zak Hill was the number one choice.
Right.
It was somebody from the Harsin coaching tree. I don't think it checked a lot of boxes. So it was definitely the least amount of work. I've stated publicly before, I'll state it again. I think it's more important that he goes out and he gets his guy than he gets the guy. Because ultimately he's responsible for the vision and the direction of this offense. So you need somebody who can come in and execute that. Beyond that, the timing, once your plan A falls through, it's now even more important that he gets his guy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with it taking a little bit more time to make sure that you vet the candidates. If he goes out and he gets somebody like Joe Brady, so be it. I assume that part of the interview process will be, here's what we're looking for. Can you commit to this? And I'll tell you, if he skips out after a year, it's probably because we had a really good year, which Harsin will take. So in the immediate, it's more important that this coach wins games next year, so that there is a year after that for him. Right. And he's got to take this group here, man, and do something special or better than we did in 2021 and 2022. So the timing, it's never a good time to be in need of an offensive coordinator. It's always an inconvenient time. So what good time is there really? After spring, before spring, there are negatives to all of it. He just has to get this right. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, again, he's an offensive head coach. So it's going to be his vision no matter what. And that will put some of your recruits' mind at ease that whoever you go out and get is going to be executing that vision. And it really just comes down after that to play calling. So the timing sucks, man. Zach, it sucks. It's not a great time. Early signing day is next Wednesday, the 15th. So you've got 7 days until recruits are going to start signing early. And then, you've got some extra time to work on some kids. I think this staff is going to have some recruiting surprises. So surprise upsets this recruiting period. Everybody's freaking out about recruiting. And
I think it's going to go well. I think next Wednesday will go well for the Tigers.
Yeah, I do. And then they have time after that. And then there's the portal.
Yep.
So we all just need to relax. He needs to get this hire right.
Right.
And I'm stressing going fast is not the goal here. You're an offensive head coach, get your guy, because you have to fix a lot of the problems you had this past year. You cannot take into 2022. Get your guy.
Right.
Yeah. In just a moment, I'm going to ask both of you guys if you could pick one offensive coordinator as far as fit goes. Who would you pick if you were Harsin and you had to make that decision? Today's show brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily college fantasy made easy. They have props all over the place, whether you're watching football and it's total catches, total yards, total touchdowns for running backs or passing yards for quarterbacks. They've got everything. And you can mix and match these entries across any sport that you want. So you can have Tom Brady passing yards with Steph Curry points on any given night, which is a ton of fun. But of course, they specialize in college fantasy, which you really can't find anywhere else. I was looking for it for years, and Prize Picks is absolutely nailing it. Go to prizepicks.com. When you make your first deposit, they will match your first deposit for 100% instant match for up to $100. All you have to do is use promo code Locked On. Don't hesitate. Check out prizepicks.com. Use promo code Locked On, or go to your app store and download the app today. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. C-Dub, Mike G, what's going on these days at the War Rapport?
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, we got a lot of things going. It is the off season, and it's basketball season as well, too. So Auburn basketball is on fire. NET number 18 debut. We're covering basketball. We still got some interesting watch the film things we'll be doing all off season. Head over to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. We're the War Rapport on all those platforms, and become an insider, become a YouTube insider. We've got some great content for our insiders. We're also, Zach, giving away tickets to the Birmingham Bowl.
Wow.
So,
awesome.
Jump on over to the War Rapport to see how you can get tickets. We bought a gang of tickets to give away. So we gave away tickets to every home game this season. We're giving away at least 8 tickets to the Birmingham Bowl.
That's awesome. Yeah, so tune in to the War Rapport. Check out all of that to see how you can win those tickets and get a lot of great Auburn sports information as well. All right, I teased it, guys. Who do you think Auburn should go after now? If you had to make the call, I'll go first. I think it's Andy Ludwig. That would be my next call. Offensive coordinator for Utah. Led college football in 3 tight end sets. I think Auburn has the personnel to do exactly what he wants to do. I think the mindset of how they approach the offense, Harsin and Ludwig are similar. They want balance. They both show balance. I think it would make a whole lot of sense. What do you guys think?
You stole my answer,
We
Zach.
can say the same. We can both have the correct answer, C-Dub.
I'm still going to call you a thief for it, though. I like Andy, though. I really like Andy. And I went back and watched some games.
You and Andy are on a first name basis now.
Yeah. He's a really good guy. He's a really good guy when you in my head. But I went back and watched the offenses, and yes, like a mirror of what Bryan Harsin wants to do. And this guy coached Bryan Harsin, I believe. He's been around Boise. Harsin, he knows what Harsin's vision is. He's actually doing it. Actually did a good job calling plays, and I was impressed with how he just shredded Oregon's defense. I like what I saw in that. And so Mason knows him. He knows how to coach around Mason's defense. So his offense actually blends with what Mason wants to do. Like, to me, this is a fit based on the current coaching staff that they have. And so I was leaning Zak Hill last week. Was like, I think Zak Hill will be good. He's a fit. But as I watched more of Utah, I was like, Harsin needs to go get this guy. Now, the caveat here is I don't know if Ludwig wants to move again. I've heard it been said that he's pretty content at Utah. He's actually coached before at Utah. This is actually his second stint there. So he really likes Utah. I don't know if he's open to relocating across country. Maybe he'll do it for Harsin. This isn't just anyone. This is Harsin, someone that he knows well. So it's a possibility, but I do like Ludwig in terms of, again, I'm going for fit. At this point, someone needs to fit with what Harsin wants to do and can run it without Harsin having to micromanage or feel like he has to do more than he needs to in order for his vision to come to pass.
Mike G, what are your thoughts? Give me a name.
All right. So
One name, Mike G. One name.
I picked Utah to crush Oregon in our championship game pick'em. So I like Ludwig. I do. But I'm not gonna lie.
You're not on a first name with Andy, like C does.
No, I'm not. I don't know him like that. So
I do. It's okay.
Of the names left on the list, right? And I'm going by for the record, I'm going by Justin Hokanson's list, right?
That's feel like he's to go by.
Yeah, I feel like he's been all over this OC search, and
he is killing it. Not just OC search, but everything. Like he's all.
This man is running circles around people out here. So Hokey Pokey, if you can hear me, doing a great job.
Love you so much.
But J Hoke says that we got Ponce from Appalachian State, Grimes at Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
And Dale McGee still on this list with the caveat that Austin Davis might actually be in the running as well, too. So Davis is with the Seahawks.
I think Jake with the J-Boy show said Austin Davis.
Yeah, and so if I got to pick one, if you're going to make me pick one name, I'm looking at that whole list. And I think I like Jeff Grimes. I like what I saw from Baylor offensively. I think that might potentially be a good fit, and being able to we need a dynamic passing attack. Mm-hmm. We do in this league. One-dimensional offenses, it just gets really hard for you unless you're supremely talented and you can just out-athlete the other team. So this year we saw our great running backs struggle because we just could not get anything going through the air and teams didn't respect it. So load the box, stop the run, dare them to beat you. In 2022, we've got to change the narrative. I think that Jeff Grimes could be the guy to change that. There are some reasons to like these other guys on this list that Hokanson is reporting as well, too.
Tell me about Austin Davis. Tell me about him. I don't really know a whole lot. He's in the NFL, right?
Yeah, he's the quarterbacks coach for the Seattle Seahawks right now.
How long has he been there?
That's a great question. Three seasons.
He's very young too. Is he 30?
Yeah, he's 3 seasons with the Seahawks. He played quarterback at Southern Miss, and he threw 83 touchdowns during his playing career. So he's played quarterback. He coaches quarterback. God knows that's an area of need for us is tutelage at quarterback. And he could have any
eligibility left. Bad joke. I'm sorry.
I was like, wait, what?
It wasn't funny. That's fine.
So I kind of like that hire. I like going the NFL route. I think that there's a potential really good recruiting pitch there. Yeah. Having a guy who's coming down from that level and knowing what it takes.
It's the Eason effect.
Yeah, we all know the quarterback situation at Seattle, right? With Russell Wilson. So it could be something really cool to pitch to recruits that, have a guy that's been coaching Russell Wilson for the last 3 years, now on the college level saying, hey, you could be the next Russell Wilson.
You may have a Russell Wilson on our roster right now. So,
wow.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So I'm not so sure that it's that important that the OC is an ace recruiter. I think that you have guys on your squad that are ace recruiters. I think that primarily play calling is going to be the immediate need for this team.
Right.
And
I think our guy Hoke put a report out there that Harsin's leaning towards calling plays in moving forward. Which
I asked this question about whether this coach, I asked on our show about whether this coach might actually consider calling plays. Mm-hmm. Harsin calling plays would tell me that he understands the urgency of the situation.
Exactly.
And if he's going to go down, he's going to go down doing it his way and not putting, because he, you know, I don't want to say he wasted the season, but if Bobo wasn't his guy, he wasted the season implementing in somebody else's system or trying to mesh with somebody else's system. And ultimately it landed us at 6-6.
Well, we've talked about this before. Harsin's confidence that he is the guy to fix the Auburn football program. And I think if you believe that, the urgency does need to be there because you can't go 6-6 again. You got 8 home games. You need to win all of them. You need to win all of them. I don't care who they are. You need to go undefeated at home next season. And if your way to do that is you think you're the best play caller on your staff, you need to do it. You know your roster better than anyone else. You are the alpha dog. I am all for it. What I don't want to happen, and it probably won't have as much of an impact on this regime than it did the previous regime, but the whole who's calling plays crap, I have no interest in going through that again.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. The whole merry-go-round of I'm calling plays, I'm not. Hopefully we're not going back to that. Harsin has been a pretty good play caller. You're talking about the guy who was the 3rd winningest active head coach in college football before he came to Auburn. He averaged 10-win seasons. Football is football, man. I know it was the Mountain West, but at the end of the day, this guy knows football. And if he decides that he wants to do something his way, and the best way to do that is for him to call plays, I'm on board. Right?
Does that affect who he goes out and gets if he's going to be the play caller at the end of the day?
There's going to be some people that won't come because they want to call plays.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's going to narrow your pull down. But if you're calling plays, like your decision isn't as important. Then it's more of a, can you craft a game plan with me kind of thing. The role drastically changes and what you want in that coach changes. So while it cuts out some people, Mike G, I don't think it's super important.
Right. But does that make somebody like Joe Brady a better fit then? Because that was his situation at LSU. He was the passing game coordinator and somebody else was calling plays.
But wouldn't he be like, wasn't the system of, hey, Brady, we need a passing play. We want to pass it on this down. And then he gave them one. Wasn't that it? He didn't actually call the plays, but he supplied the plays.
Yeah, I know he wasn't calling plays. I think Ensminger was calling plays, if I recall correctly. But he was designing things, and he had plays prepared for certain scenarios, and he was really good at it. So
they did everything right that year. Yeah.
Right. So I that might end up making somebody like him a pretty good fit for Harsin if he's going to call plays. So like I said, you just got to go out and he's got to get the right guy. He knows what that means in his system, and he's got to be the one that makes that decision, not anybody else.
Yep, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's a War Rapport Wednesday here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at betonline.ag. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your sports action this bowl season. Auburn, a 2.5-point favorite in the game that we're about to talk about in our final segment against Houston in the Birmingham Bowl. Honestly surprised. I thought Houston would be favored by a few points, but no, I was off by that on that one, and that is okay. But yeah, bet on any game that you want. They've got a lot of awesome lines. You can bet the money line, you can bet the spread, whatever you want to do. Bet online, where the game starts. Also, our friends at Built Bar. I got an email from Built Bar this morning saying they had a new flavor out, and I've never gone to a website to order something so quickly. But they have released a limited time flavor of caramel macchiato, and I was all about that. So head over to built.com. Check out all their awesome limited edition flavors, or limited time flavors, rather, throughout this holiday season. And also a great gift if you know somebody's got a New Year's resolution to kind of get more fit and healthy in the new year. Built is the way to go. So go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. That is built.com. Final few minutes here on this War Rapport Wednesday. Gentlemen, I mentioned it. Would love y'all's thoughts and response to Auburn being placed in the Birmingham Bowl against Houston. Talked about it earlier this week on the show. I think it's a tough draw for Bryan Harsin and company. Being 6-6, this being a game that you really, really need to win to kind of keep the fan base energized and excited. Houston's a good football team, and I think this is going to be a tough game for them.
Well, I think this is the type of opponent you wanted to be playing at the end of the season anyway. And I think Auburn is fortunate to be able to draw an opponent like that, considering how the season ended. So I look at it as a great challenge, but I'm wondering who's going to show up for the game. We got a lot of people who got dinged up down the stretch. We heard that Brahms is going to be out. He had surgery. Positive news about Finley. But you're just wondering, who are we going to go into battle with? And I think that's the question I'm wondering with our linebacking core, our secondary. We got some question marks. And so as the weeks go on, I think we'll have a good idea as to who the coaching staff is going to play. But I do want to see some youth, man. I think our future is now. I want to see some guys that coaches have raved about, but we didn't get a chance to actually see them play. I want to see those guys get out there and get some burn and show what they can do. So, you want to win the game, but I also want to see some guys that we can get excited about going into the spring as well.
Yeah. I mean, guys that are going to the NFL, we already know Zacoby. Like, is Zacoby going to play? Roger McCreary, Smoke Monday. Like, are those guys going to play? Like, probably
maybe
not.
Smoke. Maybe Smoke.
Maybe, yeah. But it's like, what else is he going to get? I mean,
McCreary has proven everything he needs to prove on film.
Yeah, but most of these defensive guys, I mean, a lot of the guys that are kind of borderline, like TD Moultrie and Colby Wooden and Derek Hall, these guys all ended the season with their best performance of the year. So it's like, what else are you going to do? Go out on a high point against the most talented team that you're going to play this season. And so it's like, I don't know why would you, unless you just, you want to go out with your team. And obviously that's an important thing, but Mike G, what are your thoughts?
I think this was a really good draw for Auburn.
Okay.
I think this was a chance to beat a respected opponent.
Yeah.
Get your, end the season on a high note, beating somebody that you can say matters after you beat them, if you beat them. This is an 11-2 Houston team that they're going up against. Now, Birmingham is a very short trip up the road, so I know it's not an exciting prospect for a lot of the players, but being able to get your team up for this game, get them motivated, get them ready. There's a lot of guys who have things to prove in this one. So if you're TJ Finley, this is your third start as the starting quarterback at Auburn University. And if you can go out there and have a good game, you can change the narrative a little bit going into the spring about whether you can be the guy or not.
Houston's defense appears to be giving up yards. So there's opportunity for Finley to do something.
Right. Yeah. And outside of Finley, we may see, I asked Harsin this about do we see some red shirt freshmen who we know cannot burn eligibility? Is there a chance? Now, TJ's coming off an injury. I'll be interested to see if Grant Loy is actually the backup for this one, or is it all we got left is D Davis, really?
Why wouldn't Grant Loy be the backup? He's been the backup to Finley all season. Why wouldn't?
I feel you. I just don't know why you're investing anything in Loy at this point, man.
It'd be exciting.
Would it? Why would it be slow torture? I don't.
Davis being the backup? If Davis got a chance?
Oh yeah.
That would be exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
There's nothing about Grant Loy that excites me.
That's what we thought you were talking about. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no,
why
would they change it at this point?
Right. So if he's because it's a bowl game and logic be damned, right? And just get something on tape going into the spring for a lot of these guys. Again, do we see with Zacoby probably not playing? Do we see the redshirt freshman Dylan Brooks? Do we see a little bit of Lee Hunter in this one? On defense, there are a few guys that might get a chance to shine in this one. So I'll be interested to see what kind of tactic he takes here. But a win is a huge positive going in to the spring, into winter workouts. Yeah. So I think this is a good draw for them. I think it's a chance to actually prove something in what is not a very exciting bowl game. Honestly. Houston got the short end of the stick, man. They got a bowl game 16 hours from home. Oh man.
Listen, that's
Birmingham Bowl, though.
That's why you go to a better conference if you're Houston.
Yeah, for sure.
You hate to see it. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time as always. How can people check out the War Rapport?
Oh, man, go check us out on YouTube, on the YouTubes. We've got a lot of exciting Yeah, we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming this offseason. So, again, our Watch the Film segment will be expanding in the offseason. We're going to be giving away things. We're adding new segments all the time. Subscribe on YouTube, become an insider for even more chances to gain access to that content and win drawings to games and win T-shirts and hats and all kinds of gear.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much. As always, we'll talk again next week. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. This has been Locked On Auburn.